Holla ballers, it's Preacher and I'm bringing you your 5.2 update for the Protection Paladin. Okay, first up is a large change moving away from haste gear. This big issue that Prot Paladins had at the start of 5.1, taking that DPS gear. Haste is still a valuable stat, but we have seen a big buff to avoidance. Grand Crusader can now proc from avoidance, which is awesome. And generally just giving us more choices when it comes to our gearing, rather than just stacking pure haste. It's moved haste a little ways down the tail, but crit is still worse. Okay, you're going to be looking at more dodge, more parry, which is nice to see for the tanks. It's really good to see that happening. The next thing that happened in patch 5.2 was to raise our AoE cap. Some spells got altered, but it also makes Consecrate very much more powerful when dealing with large amounts of enemies. That AoE cap is now has been lifted, so we now do a ton more damage when AoE tanking. Unfortunately, what we didn't see in patch 5.2 was any ways to improve the gameplay of the Prot Paladin. A big failure that I see with the Prot Paladin is quite literally the lack of dynamic options, especially when it comes to our active mitigation model. Of course, this is all assuming you've watched the 5.1 guide, which teaches you exactly how to play that. You can go ahead and click it in the background. There's still not much going on in terms of dynamic gameplay whatsoever for the Prot Paladin. Basically, your choices as always come down to, do I use Shield of the Righteous, or do I go ahead and Word of Glory myself? That is pretty much the only choice you have now as a Protection Paladin. Everything else is pretty much baked in. So unlike those Druids who can choose between Frenzied Rejuve, who can choose between Savage Defense, Shield Block, Shield Barrier for the Warriors, all those kind of extra options in how to deal with various situations, kind of just baked into either you're going to use Shield of the Righteous, which is going to be the one to go to in most occasions. Not only does it do a substantial amount of damage, but also provides you with that lovely block ability. Or just give yourself a big heal, which is what your go-to is in an emergency situation. Not very prudent in raids, tends to get used a lot more in the 5-mans and so on and so forth. Little bit of a shame not to see something tweaked with that in order to bring it in line with the rest of the tanking stuff. For the remainder of 5.2, the Prot Paladin is still very much a go-to tank. Makes a great pairing with Monk tanks and Death Knights. Still standing next to the Warriors side by side. Have a balanced amount of cooldowns, able to deal with pretty much any situation in at least a moderate way. And absolutely not really excelling in one particular area, be it physical or magic. But nonetheless, they are a very sturdy, very powerful tank, and you guys should enjoy them a lot. There was not much more changes to patch 5.2. The 5.1 gameplay and guides really still apply, so go ahead and check those out. We'll be looking at more tanks for the rest of the week, but that's basically it, guys. Enjoy your Prot Paladin. A lot of people have left them behind, but they're very sturdy, very powerful, and still cope very nicely with very many situations.